Hey, folks, and welcome to the Luthier Confession Hour. And today I am your host, for the sake of this broadcast, Father O'Brien. We're going to have some fun today, folks. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. Let's check out our chat box here and see if we got anybody. Oh, look at that. We got all kinds of people. Ron from Centennial, Alberta, Canada, Louie, all the way up there in Alaska. Man, I tell you what, we got all kinds of people. Hey, there's Howdy from Sterling, Alaska. Look at that. Darla's up there in Montana. Hey, Darla, how you doing? North Carolina. Man, we got all kinds of people on here. This is cool. Well, we're going to have some fun today, folks. Like I said, this is Luthier Confession Hour, and we got some things to confess. So, take a quick sip of coffee there. I'm going to have a little help here on the chat. I'm going to have one of my pals join in here, and this is Rabbi Drew. Actually, Drew's a student of mine, and he's out there in Cincinnati, and we decided, heck, we're just going to have some fun today. And I've asked a bunch of people to call in and join us with some stories. I've even got some pictures. And Drew's going to help me run the chat group here. By the way, if you want to join in on the chat, if you want to do this live, let me see if I can get this to come up here. There we go. If you want to tell your story live here during the stream, you can certainly do that. Just text that number. That's Rabbi Drew's number. And if you've got a story that he thinks is interesting and we should put on the live on the air here, then he'll send you a little link, and you can just join us right here live. So that sounds like it's going to be some fun. Also, we're going to have a drawing today. We're going to give away some courses. What do you think, Rabbi? Is that a good idea?
That sounds like a great idea. Love it.
All right. I'm thinking we ought to give away a couple of courses. And Cesar is down there in Brazil. Where's Cesar at? There's Cesar and Manuela. They're down there in Brazil. Cesar is my developer, and Manuela is his girlfriend. And they're going to help us with doing some drawing. So if you want to be in the drawing to get one of our online courses here, then in the chat box on YouTube, there's a little link, and you can go ahead and click on that, put in your name, put in your email address, and then we'll be able to do a drawing. That sounds like some real fun. Cesar, have we got anybody that's already signed up for that down there or not?
Not yet.
Not yet. All right. So I guess nobody wants to win anything today. So that's okay. Nobody wants to win anything. That's fine with me. There's Larry, showed up from Alabama. How you doing, Larry? We got somebody from Ukraine. Hey, how's it going over in Ukraine? Wish you guys the best over there under the circumstances right now. Let's have a little fun here today and confess some of our things can go wrong. Now, let's face it. We've all been there. Things go wrong. And this is just a fun way of everybody confessing that, yeah, we've all done it. We've all been there. Some of us have done it 2 or 3 times or more. So this is just a fun way of not only showing the problem, but also how you fix the problem. So this is a way to, it's a learning experience. What do you think, Rabbi? Is that a good idea to have a little learning experience here?
Yeah. In my case, of course, I've never made a mistake, Robbie, as you well know, but of course, that's not true. I've made some real boneheaded moves, as you've personally witnessed.
Yep.
This will be fun. Let's let everybody confess.
Good. Let me see if I can get my sound effects up and running here again, because I got some really cool sound effects. Let's see if we can get them running here. Let's see. So we do something. Nope, it's not going to do it. I had some really cool sound effects ready to go. Let's see if we can do it this way. There. All right. Well, we're going to have some fun here today. Folks, if you have any questions along the way, or if you have a little story you want to tell, you can do it in the chat box. You can also just do it in the by texting that number that I put up there on the screen earlier. Let's see if we can do that. There's the number to call if you want to.
All right.
Get on.
Now, Robbie, let me just let people know too.
Yep.
when they text me, I'll just go ahead and listen to their story, and then I'll send them a quick link,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to come on live. You're going to come into what's called the green room, and then Robbie will bring you live on camera
Yep.
and tell your story.
Okay. Good. Well, let me just start by showing. If I can get that to go away. There we go. Let me just start by showing my website here, because my website is constantly changing. Cesar down there in Brazil is my web developer. He's doing a fantastic job. And of course, I don't have my website up. Let me just get that up here real quick. There it is. If you go to the O'Brien Guitars website, click on online courses. There you see my complete catalog of online courses. We're going to be giving some of those away today just for joining in the stream here. And you'll notice up here at the top left-hand corner, I have a coming soon, the 6-day acoustic guitar building course. If you click on that, there's some videos in there you can watch explaining about the course. Now, this course is a little different than my previous courses. What's going on there is that in my previous courses, it was chapter 1 and it was complete, for example, the neck, chapter 2, the sides, chapter 3, the back, for example. This one is going to be day 1 and everything we do on day 1. Day 2, everything we do on day 2, day 3. Anyway, so it's taken in the order that I do here in my classes. And so I think you're going to find that a lot of fun. And for the guys that have come and studied with me, then you'll be able to follow exactly along in the video course exactly the way I do it here in my classes. All right, I think we should get into some stories here. Let me just check our chat box here real quick. I'm trying to monitor everything here all at once, and this is sometimes a little out beyond my control here. Tom in Atlanta. There's a lot going on here, Rabbi. We got
yeah, and I'm watching it too for you.
What's that?
I said I'm watching it too for you here. So between the two of us, we'll keep an eye on the chat and text again.
Yeah. If anything comes up in the chat, you let me know. This one came up. Look at that. Why the garb? I guess he's referring to my clothes here. Well, this is just a lighthearted way of us having some fun here. Don't take it serious. I mean, this is not sacrilegious in any way or anything like that. This is just a way of us having some fun. So don't worry about it. Just join in the fun here. And if you guys want to keep an eye on that chat box for me, I'd certainly appreciate it.
Yep. Will do.
Let's see. Louis says he can't check into, or he can't eligible to do the drawing. Can somebody check me in? Is that possible, Cesar, down there in Brazil? Is there something wrong with the link, maybe?
I sent the link again in the chat box.
Okay.
So I watch it if he can. And just to let you know, we have 9 participants already.
9 participants in the drawing. Yep.
Yes.
I can't see how many people are on live here on YouTube. Can you see that, Cesar or Drew?
Yeah, 31.
31. Not
31.
bad for a Wednesday morning, huh? All right, we got somebody from Germany. Welcome aboard. All right, let's get started with some stories. I have some stories prepared here. What I did on my chat group, I run a private chat group. It's only for the people who have purchased one of my courses or somebody that has actually come and studied with me. And so I put out a post a couple weeks ago saying, hey, we've all made mistakes. I would like for you guys to send me your stories. And a lot of people did, and some of them even came in with pictures. So I got a bunch of pictures and stuff we can show you. So why don't we just start with one here. This is Roger Pierce, and I don't know where he's from. If the people let me know where they were from, I'll go ahead and tell you. This picture shows the fix, and let me just get my iPad pictures up and running here, and I'll show you the picture. I think if I just show you the picture, you're going to figure out real quick what went wrong. So let's see. Here comes the picture. And let's see, this is my iPad. So there we go. All right, check out that. So as you can see, I think he cut the cutaway on the wrong side. Apparently that happens. I had a couple of students over the years that have done wrong-handed cutaways. I had a student in here recently where we actually did a left-handed cutaway. And so I had to really stop and think about things. And along those same lines, let me see if I can get myself back up here. That way I can show pictures and talk at the same time. But Roger, it looks like you did a pretty good fix there. So congratulations. Looks like you did all right. The next person is Jim Kirby. And this has also happened to me and a few other people. There's no picture to go along with this one, so we can just get rid of that and pull me back up. Jim Kirby said he had a fretboard side markers on the wrong side of the fretboard. I've done the same thing. Isn't it great that Ebony repairs so well? Another person on my chat group, John Peters, said, yeah, I did the same thing the other week. The guitar is for a friend, and I'm leaving it with markers on both sides. There's a bit of symmetry that I like about it, actually, and this is kind of a Franken guitar anyway. I'm also planning on telling him that if he wants to, he can be a switch hitter. I did the same thing here about a year or so ago. I had a student come in that wanted a left-handed guitar. And I've built a few left-handed guitars over the years. But when this happens, I have to really slow down and think about things because there's some steps that are a little different. For example, if you're doing a steel string left-handed guitar, then the saddle slot goes the other direction, the nut's different, the saddle's different, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, all during the week, we slowed down and we thought about the process to make sure we got everything right. We got it all done, strung it up, and the side fret markers were on the bottom side. So it does happen, even to the best of us. All right, let me just check our chat box here. Looks like somebody's having a problem with the link again there, Cesar. So if you could take a look at that for us. Brad from Ontario, Canada, welcome aboard. Appreciate you showing up today. This next one is from Jim Kirby. And Jim, let's show his guitar here. Jim, let's see. Sides cut too short? That's a question. Sides cut too short? I had a really nice set of Macassar ebony, as you can see from the picture. That's a really nice set of Macassar ebony. He said it was intended for a 73 Romanitas guitar copy, which is small to start with. It's just now getting finished as a Martin size 1 copy. The sides can't get cut too short until you get smaller than a soprano uke, right? Oh, he says, by the way, the hammer in the picture there is for other reasons, not in case the guitar misbehaves. So apparently he cut his sides too short there. That happens occasionally. I've heard about that. Actually, it happened to a friend of mine once. So,
Hey, Robbie, I've done that. It's
have you cut your sides too short?
Oh yeah, I've cut them short, and you try to make up with it with some sort of fix. And I like the comment from somebody here that said the mark of a true craftsman is somebody who can hide their mistakes, who can fix their mistakes. Yep. And I love that. What do you do if your sides are too short? In that case, you can try to wedge in a little extra piece there, try to make it a design feature. What would you do, Robbie?
Well, actually, there's another guy in here that has the same problem, and I'll get to him. And his fix was actually fairly interesting. I actually liked it. Became a design element, so it's actually pretty cool. Going on down the line here, here's one from Holland. Let's see if we can bring up his picture. This is kind of interesting. This is the picture after the fact, after he's fixed it. Oh, that's not the one we want. Hang on a second. There we go. So this is a picture after he's fixed it. This is Dick in Holland. In the process of making my second steel string guitar, I routed out my logo in the head plate, filled it with epoxy. And in parentheses, he says, not my preferred preference anymore. I glued the headstock the head plate on the headstock while aligning the two down on the workbench. An hour later, I took off the mousetrap and I discovered that I did not consider the center of the logo. So my logo was completely off center. I tried to chisel, cut, pry it off, but only the middle part of the logo would come out. The rest was splintered. So now here was his amateur solution, he says. I sawed the rest of the head plate straight and aligned it with some veneer, making a head plate with two sorts of wood that way. Later on, I sold the guitar and the new owner was very happy with the looks and the story. I think he actually did a pretty good fix. And look at that. It's got, two species of wood on there and his inlay is fairly centered. So heck, way to go. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think that's pretty sharp and a good workaround to create a new, potentially a new whole approach to his headstock. As we know, headstocks are important. I think it was you that told me that's the first thing people look at when they start to shop for a guitar is the headstock. So he may be onto something.
I think so. What he said when he saw that, he might have even said this. All right, here we go. This one is from Idaho. This is John. He's also on my chat group known as Scooter, and he builds a lot of ukuleles. And here's one that that came up. He said, on my last ukulele build, I was using a new Dremel router base. I made sure everything was tight and adjusted properly. Somehow, even though the bit was tight, it drew the bit out of the collet about 1/8 of an inch. The result was the binding channel was 1/8 of an inch too deep. After despairing for a while and probably saying that a few times, so after despairing for a while, I decided to bevel the entire cedar top to meet the ivoroid binding. I had intended to do an arm bevel on this instrument and even had the arm bevel piece installed in the kerfing. I liked the overall beveled effect, so I decided to skip the arm bevel. In the end, I was pleased with the effect so much, and he liked it. So there's the picture of it. And here's actually what he did is he just took that edge and rolled it over down to the binding. So it has a nice little bevel on it. There's the finished ukulele. And there you can see the bevel on the edge over by the binding. So way to go. I think, man, some of these fixes are pretty ingenious. I was amazed at how people were able to fix these. Drew, we got anybody that's even texted you yet?
Not yet. Go ahead and send me a text. We can bring you on screen if you'd like and let you tell your story in person. We'd love to hear you describe the mistake and, confess and tell us what you did in the workaround. Because by God, we've all made them
after all,
you've heard. So
confession hour, right?
It is confession hour. That's right, Father O'Brien.
Yeah, man, we've all done it. I bet everybody's just they're embarrassed to come on live and tell their story. But if you want to come on live, text that number that I put up earlier, and let me see if I can maybe even get that number up there once again without hitting all these sound effects. I tell you what, there's quite a lot of controls going on here. Let's see, maybe I can get this thing up there. There
Good job, Robbie.
Well, thank you. My phone's blowing up over here. Is probably somebody wanting to talk about I can't see the chat box. But there's the number again if you guys want to join in live here. Let's move on down. This one is Louie from Alaska. And this one's a pretty good one, Rabbi. Check this out. I was building my first guitar, and since I was inexperienced, I thought I would finalize a bit of my bindings on the dining room table. She said I spend too much time in the shop. So this decision would bind us together, spending quality time together. Oh, I see where this is going. Anyway, even though I took precautions not to make a mess, I accidentally spilled my ultra-thin CA glue all over on our oak table. After doing the best I could cleaning it up, I noticed that I had left an incredibly nice finish on the table. Somehow she wasn't as impressed as I was upon discovering this fact. I now have a nice new workbench in my shop. So, what a bummer. Speaking of CA glue, here's a little mistake that I did once. When I was teaching at the college, I would always take the first 15, 20, 25 minutes of class, and I would do a little demonstration about what I wanted the students to do that night, what I wanted them to accomplish. And I was, in a very involved demonstration, and I needed just a little bit of CA glue. So I had one of my assistants go down to the turning area where they do all the wood turnings. They always have glue down there. And so he brought me back this big quart bottle with encrusted CA glue all over it. And I'm trying to coax just a little drop out of it onto what I'm working on there. And of course, it just lets loose onto the bench. Well, I'm right in the middle of my demo. So I thought, well, I'll just slide down a little bit, continue my demo. I'll worry about this later. So I moved down a foot or two. When I got all done, I placed my hand on the table and said, all right, anybody got any questions? And of course, I was stuck to the table. And so I had one of my teaching assistants go get me some acetone. He came back, and then it was all fixed. Thank goodness. And I had to hallelujah moment. I think we're having too much fun here. All right, let's get on to another story. What do you think, Rabbi?
Yeah, CA glue. It can be your best friend or your worst enemy.
And
I'm sure everybody on the
if it ever comes out,
has glued their fingers together.
If it ever comes out, it's because you made a mistake. And I seem to be pulling that bottle out more and more. In fact, I got another CA glue story. I had a student in here who was a doctor, worked in the medical field down in Texas here a couple years ago. And they had a new doctor or nurse that showed up, was doing her internship. And a gentleman came in a car accident, had a few lacerations on his face, nothing big, didn't warrant any stitches, but CA glue works really well for that kind of stuff. So he sent this person over to the side room with the client or with the patient and said, fix him up. It should be about 10 or 15 minutes. Well, a half hour goes by, and the nurse or the doctor, whoever she was, hadn't come back. So he says, well, I'll just go check on her. So he walks over there, opens the door, and she had stuck herself to hit the patient's eyelids, and she had panicked. She didn't know what to do. And he said, well, why didn't you say something? He says, well, I thought I was going to get fired. I'm on my internship here. He said, it happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. All right, let's go on to another story here. This is kind of an interesting story. It's a little longer. This is from Chris Green in Indiana. And I remember this story very well. I also remember this guitar. Let's see if I can bring his picture up here. Where did he go? Picture 10. There we go. This, let me just start reading the story here. This is from Chris in Indiana. My second guitar was a classical guitar built from the plans of Segovia's 1937 Hauser. I took the plans way too literally on the thickness of the top. Being a steel string player, I used a truss rod, homemade, by the way. Well, I'm impressed. In the neck with a radius fingerboard. It was European curly maple with a European spruce top. I used ebony bindings as well. This thing sounded pretty fancy. Sides and bindings were hand bent on a hot pipe. So very many expletives were uttered during the process. I lost track of how many pieces of binding I broke. Finally, the guitar was complete and strung up. Sounded like a total piece of crap. I've had that happen to me too. It had a nasally sound centered around the D string, and I've had electric guitars that were louder without amps. So that was pretty interesting. The top, as it turns out, was way too thin, with too light of bracing based on the plans I had built them from. This almost stopped me from building another guitar. I went back to the steel string, doing 12 fret triple O's, and had salvaged redwood top that came from an industrial cooling tower built in the 1950s. Fortunately, the triple O sounded great. Still, the classical and its sound haunted me. I installed stiffer bracing through the sound hole, cut to fit over the original fan braces. Boy, I bet that was interesting trying to do that. This helped, but still the nasal sound didn't go away. The only thing that kept me from taking a hammer to it was the inlay I did on the peghead. And let me show you this inlay. This is pretty fancy stuff. Look at that. That is some really fancy inlay. And so,
a lot of work.
Yeah, he put a lot of work into that. And so I can understand him not wanting to scrap the guitar because that's some pretty amazing stuff. So he stuck it in the corner, and there it sat until I took Robbie's top voicing class at Mark Adams in 2019. Having that newfound knowledge, I disassembled the guitar, cut out the old top, and made a new one. I removed the fingerboard and the truss rod as well, broke a few more pieces of ebony binding, and finally got it back together. A few quick coats of lacquer, and I put it back together. Didn't care about the finish, just the sound. And the change was amazing. It still needs a neck reset as the bridge is too tall, and the neck and the fingerboard is a little too narrow for the classical player. I intend to finish this instrument when I take care of the neck reset. Still a beautiful guitar, and now it sounds great. Robbie, you played this during the COVID at Mark Adams. I remember that. Yeah, I actually played that guitar, and it sounded wonderful. I was pretty impressed with it. So he did a
that's a great story.
He did a good job. I think. What did I do there? I pushed a button and lost my. There we go. He did something that it sounded great, and I think it sounded.
Hey, Robbie.
Yes.
We got a comment from Luthier de Pobre.
Oh,
and
okay.
Let me read it. Yeah. Once I mispositioned the bridge of a bass guitar. Underneath the bridge, there was a hole for the ground wiring, but after correctly positioning, the hole was patched with a node from offcuts of the top.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
that's
Jonathan.
That's a bummer.
What a bummer! Yeah, that's Jonathan down there in Brazil, Luthier de Pobre. He has a really interesting site. It's called the Poor Man's Luthier, and he makes things out of scrap wood. Stuff he finds in the junkyard and in the trash.
Beautiful. Oh yeah,
you've really amazing. Yeah, so check out his website. Speaking of websites and stuff, folks, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, the O'Brien Guitars YouTube channel. There's the little video I made there of subscribing and clicking the bell to be notified. That way you guys can find out when we do these lives. Also helps the channel grow. The YouTube algorithm loves that kind of stuff. All right.
Robbie.
Yes.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Speaking of bridge misplacement, didn't you have a student recently who came in with the guitar and didn't have a bridge patch underneath the bridge? Who was that, I wonder? Was it from Cincinnati?
It seems to me, yeah, that occasionally happens. By the way, on my
Well,
classic
and
guitars, I don't use bridge patches. On my steel string, obviously I do because of the way you anchor the strings. But
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I had
there's
to,
all
and I'll
kinds
tell
of.
the story here. I came out to see you, and I had a completed top that I was so proud to show you, and with all the bracing in and all the good stuff, and you looked and said, "Where's the bridge patch, Drew?" Oops.
Happened to a friend of mine once.
Yep.
All right, here's one from John. This was another story about the sides being cut too short. And this one, I really liked this fix. This is really interesting. So I have had way too many brain farts. This is John in Washington. He says, here's one. When I trim the tail end of the sides to fit in the mold, I use the center line of the mold to cut one side. I reclamp that side into the mold and use the cut side to draw a cut line on the other side I have not trimmed. Well, once I used the uncut side to draw the line on the already cut side. I came up with that fix. It looked okay, but all luthiers who saw the pictures knew it was a fix. Here's the fix. I thought it was a fantastic fix. In other words, he came up 1.5 to 2 inches too short there on his sides. I think it was a fantastic fix.
Yeah, a little bit of creativity there for sure.
Yep, I think it was great. And now there's somebody in the chat group or in the chat box there that says, "Is anybody here from Germany?" And they can't send a message. So I don't. If you have trouble sending messages there, please let me know. I think that John deserves a little applause. Oh, come on, folks, you can do better than that. There we go. There we go. That's what I want to hear. Yeah. I think John did a fantastic job on that. All right, let's get back to another one here. Rabbi, keep me informed about anything that comes up there on the chat box, if you would.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Cesar, how are we doing down there in Brazil? How many people have enrolled in the giveaway?
So far, we have 21 people.
21 people enrolled in the giveaway. How many people are online watching us now?
And 34 people watching.
34 people. All right. Well, heck, I think we should just do a giveaway. What do you think, Cesar?
I think we should.
I think we should reward the people that are watching us here. And here's how this works. You've got your name and your email address there. And Cesar has a random program that he's going to show here. I think Manuela is going to show it to us, or you're going to show your screen or something. And then it will randomly draw a number, and that's the person that's going to win the prize. Cesar, what do you think we should give away? I was thinking maybe some Luthier Tips du Jour videos. What do you think?
Perfect. I think
all right,
that's perfect.
Let's give away my online course about all the Luthier Tips du Jour videos. It includes all of my classic Luthier Tips du Jour videos. It includes all of my Luthier Tips du Jour mailbag videos that have been released. It also includes a bunch of unreleased Luthier Tips du Jour videos. So, Cesar, I need to show your screen, right? Or is that just like that? Is that the way you want to do it?
Yeah, first the camera. So we are going to roll up a random number here.
Do I push that?
I'm going to see which. Yes, exactly. Maybe you can keep our camera for now. Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, perfect. So all right, go ahead, Manuel. Let's see.
All right, here we go. Random number being chosen. And number 13, lucky number 13. All right, let's see who number 13 is.
Let's see. Number 13 is Larry.
Larry. Oh, man, Larry down there in Alabama. Congratulations. You have won all of my Luthier Tips du Jour videos. And thank you, Cesar and Manuela, for doing the drawing there.
Thank you.
And here in a little bit, we'll be back. We'll do another one. What do you think?
Perfect.
All right. Good deal. Larry, congratulations. You are the lucky winner of the Luthier Tips du Jour video there. Later on, maybe we'll give away another course here. All right. So here's another story. This one is from Ryan. And let's see if we got a picture from him. Oh, this was a good fix too. There we go. When I was cutting my binding channels on my first from scratch instrument, I did a ton of test cuts to ensure that the depth was absolutely spot on. Now, I tell you what, folks, I've built a lot of guitars with students over the years. And one thing that really gets my pucker factor going is cutting binding channels, because a lot can go wrong, and I've seen it all. So he did not, however, have his binding depth set properly, and he didn't think about checking the height of it. Eventually, the best idea I could come up with was one to get rid of some nice looking purfling to fill in the additional gap. was 100% a mistake. But in the end, a bit of a happy accident. So let's see what he did here. Look at that. I thought that was a fantastic fix. Now, the first thing he probably did when he discovered his error was, yeah, then a few swear words. But congratulations. I think he did a great job. Turned out really nice. Way to go, Ryan. All right. How are we doing with it? Nobody
Robbie.
Nobody wants to come on live, Rabbi?
Yeah. No, not yet. If you want to come on live, we're happy to have you. We'll bring you on the screen here. Just shoot me a quick text, and I'll send you back a quick link. But in the meantime, speaking of binding channels, last time I was with you a couple months ago, you told me about a really change in your philosophy about how you take the binding channels all the way around instead of the, downhill, uphill philosophy. And I for me, that really made so much sense. Yeah. And do you remember the reason why? Right? It can't blow out behind. It can't blow out. Yeah. Behind the blade.
Yeah. Let me kind of explain what we're talking about here. I've always taught in my videos. I was taught, and I pass on to other students, that when you cut your binding channels, you start at the widest part of your upper bout, and you travel towards the neck, and then you travel towards the waist. Then you pop out. Right. You come in the widest part of the lower bout, you travel to the waist, and then you travel to the end block. And I've always done it that way. I showed it in my videos. I've taught it for years and years and years. Well, a few years ago, I had Paco Chorobo from Spain here in my shop. We were teaching a flamenco guitar bending class together. And when it came time to flush trim all of the tops and backs of the student guitars, I was running the router, and I was doing that, starting at the widest part, traveling to the neck, traveling to the waist, etc. And I noticed out of the corner of my eye, Paco was kind of scratching his head, thinking, what's going on? So when I got all done, I said, hey, what do you think about this? And he says, well, why do you do it that way? And I went into my speech about, you got to be traveling downhill and out of the grain. You don't want things to blow out. And he says, well, why don't you just do it like a CNC router would do it? And I said, well, how's that? He said, clockwise. And so I said, okay, how's it not going to blow out? He says, well, you start at the neck and you start working your way around. That's not going to blow out because you're going out of the grain. When you're going into the grain, it's down towards the widest part, traveling towards the waist. He said, but what's it going to blow out? Everything behind it's already been cut. And I thought about that for a minute. I said, well, maybe you're on to something. Maybe that's something that needs to go to Mythbusters. And so ever since then, and that's probably been 3 or 4 years ago, I've just been going around clockwise. And I've never had a problem flush trimming, and I've never had a problem cutting binding channels. So there you go. There's your tip for the day, folks. How are we doing on the chat group? Anybody got something I should see there? The chat box?
Not so far. We're getting some new people attending. We've got Rob McAllister is in.
Oh,
hi,
good.
Rob. Pablo Vizcarreta from Ecuador has joined us.
Good.
And Jason Sides from the Algonquin Guitars Water Valley, looks like MS, Mississippi.
Perfect.
All right.
Well, welcome aboard, folks. For those of you just joining in, we're having a little fun here today. This is a Luthier Confession Hour. And for the sake of this video, I'm Father O'Brien, and that's Rabbi Drew. And we're just telling some stories of things that have happened. Of course, we're leaving ourselves out of the story, right? Every now and then we'll put one of our mistakes. Of course. All right, here comes another story. This one's from Ramon up in Washington. My all-time favorite oops moment is pictured below. Let me see if I can get his picture up here. Speaking of cutting binding channels.
Oh dear.
Here we go. And as he was coming around the lower bout down there, he had some problems with some chip out and stuff. And so here's what he did. Look at that. He's obviously doing some type of inlay with some colored epoxy or something. But here's the finished product. Check this out. I was actually pretty impressed with that. Well, I mean, what a great design opportunity. It actually turned out pretty good. It looks like it was used with rosewood and rosewood dust and epoxy. And, at this point, what do you have to lose, right? You got to fix it. And to make matters worse, he's working on a light colored wood, which is really hard to patch. So fantastic job. I thought that was pretty good. Can I get an amen on that one?
Amen.
Amen, brother. That's good.
I think he did a fantastic job. That turned out really good. So way to go. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Here's one from Eric, and Eric doesn't tell me where he's from, but let's see if we can pull up Eric's. Oh, this is a bummer. Oh my God, when I saw that. Here's what happened to Eric. On a recent guitar build, I just completed the soundboard and was fitting it to the top. I didn't quite have things right yet, and I applied force when I should not have, managing to crack the soundboard on the wing of the upper bout clean through. I considered just starting over with a new top, but I figured I didn't have anything to lose trying to fix it. So I used some steam to take off the upper brace, and then getting the soundboard good and warm with a flat iron, I put in some hide glue and used wide packaging tape stretched across the brake on both sides to act as a clamp. Once it was dry, I cleaned off the excess hide glue, sanded it a bit with 320. Fortunately, the entire crack disappeared. I put the brace back on and everything worked out. Way to go. There's the finished product. That's pretty impressive. You can't even see it.
Hey, Robbie.
Yeah.
Yep. So it kind of reminds me of your tongue-in-cheek advice to people, right? Just put a pressure on gently until you hear that crack and then back off just a little bit.
Yeah,
of course, you mean that in good fun, right?
Yeah,
I
always tell people to, just like when you're clamping your guitar body in the neck angle jig, tighten it till you hear crackling, back off a quarter turn. I have students that come in and they start repeating stuff that I've said in my videos. And that's one of the things I said in my videos. And so they'll repeat that to me before I even have a chance to say the joke. Pretty funny. I did that. My first course, Drew, was done almost 15 years ago. And so, I forget what was even in those things sometimes. It's been so long ago. So people have to come in and remind me. Let's see. We've already done Chris. Here's another. How are we doing with the chat box there? We got anything? Anybody asking a question?
Yeah, we have a comment that Watch and Learn made a comment about an old Esteban cutaway guitar that he got as a gift, and he decided to rebuild it completely as a practice piece. And I think that's a great idea. I've done that too.
Yeah.
And what he found is that it was built so poorly that he's considering not rebuilding it. That's a real bummer, right? Because it speaks to this whole issue about the value of handmade guitars, that all the people on this, this live stream really, really appreciate how good quality hand-built guitars are versus most factory guitars. Factory guitars, as Trevor Gore will tell you, they're overbuilt. And they're built to last and to never come back. and unfortunately, that does a lot to the tone. So thanks for sharing that story, Watch and Learn. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that was a great story. I've got a story here from Peter. Let's pull up Peter's. Peter he decided to build 3 guitars at once. Now, people all the time ask me, hey, do you build in batches? Well, sometimes I do now, but in the beginning, I recommend that you do not build in batches. And the reason why I don't want you to build in batches is because you can repeat the same mistake several times until you've dialed in your process. And, that's exactly what happened. So here we go. This is from Peter. When I started your steel string building course, I elected to use the hot pipe bending method because there was already plenty else to spend money on. Boy, ain't that the truth. I was too chicken to bend the Indian rosewood from the LMI kit, so I sought up some practice sides from a maple forklift pallet. Oh, wow, that sounds like it's even harder. Those went well, but I was still a little hesitant. I resawed some nice walnut and had around, and that bent easily, giving me the confidence to bend the rosewood. I looked over what I had and decided that I could build all 3. Learning on the pallet wood, refining each skill on the walnut, and attacking the kit guitar with some expertise. This turned out to be very efficient in terms of setups. It also turned out to be an extremely efficient way to mess up all 3 in one smooth operation. So here's his 3 guitars, and apparently he made mistakes on all 3 of them. In routing the purfling, I had the router set up wrong. Oh, here we go. That story seems to be a repeating theme here. I had the router set up wrong. And I routed the purfling channel way too wide on all 3. So I started Googling and found a video called Advanced Binding Radial Purfling and used that technique to fill in the extra wide purfling ledge. I liked it so much that I've put that on most of the guitars I've built since. And here's the fix. Look at that fix. Isn't that amazing?
That's impressive.
That was a home run. Way to go. I mean, that is very, very well done. So the video, if you want to find it, just Google advanced binding radial purfling, and it's on YouTube, and you can learn how to do that. I thought that was an impressive fix. Very nice.
Now, Robbie, a couple updates. Watch and Learn, who told us the story about the Esteban guitar, he wanted to clarify the case that it came with was worth more than the guitar. So it all's well done ended well.
Oh my gosh!
Now, Robbie, let me alert you. We may have somebody coming into the green room. We got a text from someone. It didn't put their name in it, but they want to tell the story about a guitar that gave them a little bit of trouble. Let's see if they are willing to join in here. They want to share their hurdy-gurdy guitar. Maybe they tell you what. Let me go ahead and share my screen, and
I'm not
see
sure
if I can do that. And what
I'm not sure how to do that on my end. I think I have to click on it.
Yeah, no, I can do it here. Here we go. So he texted this picture.
Yep.
And if you want
to, let's see, how do I bring that up? I see it. It's coming in as a guest. Okay, there we go. There we go. There, is it up now?
All right. Yeah, it sure is. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I think he's having a little bit of fun with this too. When this guitar wasn't cooperating, I detoured it to a hurdy-gurdy make a gay guitardy. He calls it a hurdy-gurdy guitar. He calls it a guitardy, if you get the double meaning there.
Wow, that's
pretty clever.
That's pretty clever. Wow, impressive.
We all have one of those in our shop. At least I do.
Yep. Let's see if I can get you back up here, Drew. I lost you now. There you go. Let's see. I can get myself up, and I'm trying to get you back on there. Oh, I got you down there in the thumbnail. There we go. I tried to put you in your cathedral. I forgot to put your backstop in there. I had a nice cathedral for for Rabbi Drew there, and I can't seem to get that to work today either. So, oh well. So you're just gonna have to be in your own shop. All right, here comes another story. Let's see. This is from Renee Pena, and he didn't send a picture. He says, no pictures of this, but most hilarious mistake was the day I bent a pair of sides the wrong way and wound up with 2 right or 2 left sides. That happens more than I like to admit. In fact, I even put in my original video, I said, hey, somebody watching this video is going to have 2 left sides or 2 right sides. And sure enough, it happens. Let's see here. I managed to flatten them back with a clothes iron and proceed to repeat the same error a second time. Oh my God. Now that's just not paying attention right there. So it all worked out good after the 3rd try with no visible damage. My God, he must have been he had rubber for sides, I guess. Reminds him of the morning I went to work at my job as a welder. I got fired for not calling in when I didn't show up for work the day before, but I swear I did. The boss had a change of heart and rehired me on the spot. But after 30 minutes later, he fired me a second time for breaking a safety rule. He said I stayed fired that time. Oh my God. Some of the stories that I get on my chat group are just amazing. Let's say Rick says something in the chat box. Sorry, my computer camera is not working. Does that mean we can't see him or he can't see us?
We can't see him. So, but we do have a comment from Rob McAllister. Let me go ahead and read it here. Rob says he had a request for a wide purfling scheme, black, white, black, plus shell, plus black, white, black. Okay, pretty good scheme there. The width plus binding was about a 1/4 inch, but the widest channel I could cut was 0.21. So I wonder what he did with that. How did he actually get a resolution to that? I'm going to get somebody on here. Somebody just texted me, and I'm going to send them the link. So watch the green room, Robbie, and we'll see if we can get somebody to come on here.
All right. I've got another story.
So Rob,
this one.
Yeah, Rob just followed up. He said, oops, so I used a regular rabbit bit. It was too wide for the binding jig. Donut used to right on top, and he removed the donut. Okay, Rob's fighting with the...
Oh, we got somebody showing up. This is Chris. Let's see if we can get Chris on here. And
good.
he has
Okay,
no
good.
camera though. Oh, there we go. All right, I'm going to try and add him in here among us and see what goes on here. There we go. How you doing, sir? No audio. We got no audio for you.
Can you hear me now?
There we go. How you doing this morning?
There we go.
Yeah, good. You guys were talking about cutting the binding channels.
Yep.
And I have something actually sitting here right in front of me. The weird thing is, so I've done it both ways. I've gone clockwise and uphill, downhill.
Yep.
And it wasn't really a mistake. It was more an accident. And it's something that I've never actually considered happening, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how to turn around the screen so you can see what I'm looking at.
There'd be a little tab there that changes your camera from back to front.
Yeah.
Got some arrows on it.
The screen that maybe. Oh, well, no. Let's see. Sorry.
All right.
Front camera. Front camera. No. Sorry.
Maybe you can just turn your phone around. Just turn your phone around. See if that works.
Yeah.
Now we lost you altogether. No camera at all. There we go.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm working on the ukulele and I'm going around the binding channel, and you can't see it on this one because it curved off. But on this one I went uphill, uphill, downhill.
Right.
And when I got to this point, the top is obviously fine because I'm going with the grain, but this whole section of the side blew out.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy.
From here to here blew out on the side.
Yep.
Because the grain, it's going here, so when it hit this point, it just flew out. Luckily, I found the piece and I just glued it back on. So you can see a little bit of the glue mark there where my finger is.
Boy, that's hard to see though. A great fix. Way to go.
Well,
yeah,
on this side,
pretty good job.
Same thing happened here. I couldn't find the piece, so I just tried to find something that matched. And then what I did, so I just chiseled it out to kind of square it all up, and then then cut another piece to try and fit. But unfortunately, I got kind of an ugly glue mark right there. But
wow, that's
anyway, I don't know if that's ever happened to anyone else, but that's the first time that's ever happened to me. I never considered it.
Well, I can tell you right now that it's never happened to me and Father Rabbi or Rabbi Drew. It's happened to everybody else, but never does. No, I'm kidding. The only reason I'm qualified to teach is I've made all the mistakes that could possibly be made. And so, hey, thanks for coming on. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did something there and I got a screen up. I didn't want to get up there. So let me just get rid of that. Something went wrong here. Let me see if I can get.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. I was making one of my first guitars with some beautiful zebra wood and got the binder, the binding router going the wrong way and just splintered the heck out of the sides and spent
Drew,
a lot of time.
I lost my camera, Drew.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You guys are seeing.
Right.
What are you guys seeing?
We're seeing a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to get rid of that.
Yeah, I think my responses from the drawing.
Oh, hang on a second. Let's see here. Let me get my camera.
All right. Now, in the meantime, if you want to come on live, like our last guest, go ahead and text me.
There we go. There's a camera.
And I'll send you a quick link and get you back in.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and telling us that story there. Let me see if he.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. All right, bye.
Bye. Thanks. All right. Let's see. Where did Drew go? Did I lose you, Drew? Yep, I think I lost Drew. There we go. There we go. There's Drew back. All right. Let me get to another story here, and then we should do one more drawing and perhaps hang it up. What do you think?
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Doing great.
This one is, oh man, this one hurt when I saw this one. Rookie mistake on my first guitar. Tightened the truss rod too much in the wrong direction. I've posted this before, and I got some good advice about keeping a spare truss rod close by to double check the direction of the turn. I also was informed that my fretboard was too thick and my neck was too thin. All right, you ready for this picture? Here we go. This one's going to hurt.
Pray.
Look at that. Oops.
Ouch.
Oh my gosh. That one
Oh
hurt.
my God.
Yep, that one hurt.
Oh,
Yep, probably a few of these too. Oh wow.
that's rough.
That's really rough. I'd hate to see that. I've got a bunch more here, but I think probably we should wrap it up. If that's all right with you guys. And thank you for Rabbi Drew and for playing along here with us. Thanks for everybody else for playing along here with us. Rob McAllister's got a quick little quote there. If you want to read it, Rabbi, there in the chat box.
Yeah, let me get it up here. What does Rob say here? He says that the conclusion of his story here. So the bit depth. The bit depth of the cut changed because the jig now rode about 2 inches from the edge. Yeah, okay, that results shell falling below the level of the top in some locations. And what he did, he glued a veneer into the purfling channel and hand sanded the channel to normalize the depth. It worked out, but it was a lot of extra work. Man, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
Rob, you are not alone.
Yeah.
Binding channels and routers, they're
seems like we had a recurring theme going on here with binding channels today, didn't we? Oh my gosh. That's like I said, that's one of the things. My pucker factor still goes pretty high when we do that.
Same here.
I think we ought to give away another course. What do you think, Rabbi?
That sounds good. Let's do it.
How about Cesar down there in Brazil? How are we doing? How many people do we have included for this next drawing?
So we just went over 50 people watching.
Okay.
And we have 27 participants in the drawing.
Perfect. I think we should give away one of Rabbi Drew's Marketing for Luthier's course. What do you think?
That sounds great.
That sounds like a good thing to do. All right. So go ahead and do a randomly drawing there, Manuela. You can work your magic with the iPad and let's see what happens.
So let's see. So let's do the number first. Okay. Go ahead. Yes.
All right. The suspense is killing me here. 15.
15.
Who is 15? You want me to try and get your spreadsheet up there?
Yes, please.
All right. Who's
number 15 is, let's see, let's reveal Thomas Hunt.
Thomas Hunt. You're the lucky winner of the Marketing for Luthier course done by Drew Boyd there. By the way, Drew hasn't said anything about himself here, but Drew is Drew, I tell you what, why don't you just toot your own horn here a little bit? Tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, great. Thanks. So I'm a full-time professor at the University of Cincinnati, but I've been making guitars now for about 6 years. And I've been at Robbie's place 4 times now, Trevor Gore's course. And I've done a lot of work with Robbie over the years and really enjoy the partnership. We're going to be building more courses. We've talked about maybe a course, video course on Luthier, the business of Luthiery.
Yes.
And how you, as a small shop, as a one-man shop, can benefit from tax advantages and other things. So that course is underfoot right now, and we're always open to your ideas too. If you have ideas for coursework you'd like us to consider, Robbie has a lot of other partners that he works with in the world of Luthiery on many other skills. So be sure to send those over to Robbie if you've got them.
Also, Drew, you have a ball cap on there. What does that say on the top of that ball cap there?
Yeah, that is.
Look at that.
That is Luthier Academy. Robbie, tell them what's going on.
All right. Luthier Academy has been in the works for about 1.5 years now or more. The original idea was thought of a long time ago. And Cesar, who is my web developer down there in Brazil, has been feverishly working on this nonstop for the last 1.5 years. And we're getting closer to launching it. But Luthier Academy is going to be the go-to portal for all things Luthiery related. And that's about as far as I'm going to take it right now. But stay tuned for that because it's going to be a great learning opportunity. It's everything Luthiery related. So that's as far as I'll take that for now. All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for participating. Can you think of anything else, Drew, we need to address? Oh, by the way, this Father O'Brien Luthiery Confession Hour was Drew's idea. We were building a guitar together, a couple months ago? And all of a sudden, Drew's working on something. I don't remember what he was doing. He just looks up at me like he had this brainstorm. He says, Father O'Brien's Luthiery Confession Hour. And so here we are. So thank you, Drew, for the idea. This has been great fun. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you, Manuela and Cesar down there in Brazil.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Let's get rid of those. Thank you so much, everybody, for participating. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave them in the chat there. You can still watch the replay later. And over and out. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.